what you see is a bunch of crafted mixed mystery. A lot of crafted mystery that isn't real, that was just made to kind of take, a big group, like a big audience. They want this big audience, and you can see parallels. If you look at, what happened back in October, November, and December of 2017 around this to make it explode, the same methods are being used around Pizzagate and Voodoo Donuts right now. Well, over the last month. They're using the same methods. It's the same group. It's the same group. They tried to kind of like induct me into their little group. I didn't know it. They don't come out and tell you. They don't know if they can trust you or not. They want YouTubers that'll keep their mouths shut, that will enjoy the benefits of having viral things sent to them ahead of time. It's a benefit of being in their little club, right? Yeah, you don't know which one of them is actually coordinating everything. You don't know which one of them is in the know, but definitely one of them does know. One of them is given a little bit of a preemptive thing, right? Because how YouTube works is like, if you're lucky enough to cover something and then that thing goes viral, you are lucky because the algorithm looks at what you've done before it went viral and says, this was someone talking about it before it went viral. This isn't someone that's jumping in because it's viral. And that was me. I covered it before it went viral. It was a lot of other people too. The difference is I covered it because of you, my audience. The same way I take every topic I take in. You guys come to me, you turn in a bunch of stuff you're seeing around the net, and then I go consider it for a show, and we'll do a show on it. And then whether or not it turns into something or doesn't, at least we've covered it, we've got our heads around it, and we know what the general information is about it. Okay? And that's what happened. I actually did a video on it, and then a week or two later, I did some more, and then I started realizing the truth very quickly. Okay? There were other people out there. Last night, I came to the realization that there were other people out there that knew the truth way too early. Okay? They successfully spread the buzz around. They spread the word. They got people hyped. Why were they telling everyone this was going to be the most massive thing ever? We're talking days from when some random guy without a trip code and not using a letter of the alphabet, some random guy posts on 4chan something that happened. How many 4chan posts are there every day? We need to find that out. I would guess a couple million at least, right? Because people just post all over 4chan on all these different boards every single day. Those YouTubers did not just say to themselves, that post, because there was one post for a while, and then some others popped out. Those posts, that guy, even though he's anonymous, even though that guy's not using a trip, even though he's not even signing off with a name, that guy that's gonna get big, it's gonna do well. How did they know? Because they did know. That's what we proved last night. We've got DMs that show that they know. It's in the live stream highlight that I put out a little bit ago. DMs of people on November 1st, October 31st, October 30th. We are talking the next day after the first Q post, which was a Q post that didn't come true, wasn't going to come true, and it wasn't anything special. In fact, it looked exactly like a lot of other posts on 4chan at the time. It looked a lot like a lot of other poll posts, okay? So what you have is, basically, on October 28th, a post goes out on 4chan. The next day, there's another. I think a couple days later, there's another. There's a few posts that go out amongst the millions. A person, which we will, assume is Baruch, but with a couple others also. No telling who's all in this early stage, because they've been changing their tune now. Now they're going around saying, well, I didn't meet that guy till December 15th. how did you do a video with him in November then? Everything's changing, so you can't necessarily pin exactly who was behind the curtains. But the people that weren't behind the curtains, the people that were in the front of the curtains, the YouTubers, the people that show their face, they were at a disadvantage because we can go back and look at what they said on Twitter. Well, kind of, because a lot of it's deleted. We can go back and look at what they did on YouTube, which they didn't delete, which is just a few little scraps and a lot of good screenshots people took, right? A lot of good YouTube videos that have already found this stuff we could take screenshots from. But at least when it comes to the YouTubers involved, we really can tell who had foreknowledge and who did not. Now, how did they have foreknowledge, Unirock? You just said it's just a 4chan post. How would they know anything? It's simple. They were told by Baruch and the people helping him, the people that formed it. Now, it looks like there was a person posting, and then Baruch saw it and went to his own board and started posting like it. There's a new theory going around that Baruch was actually handed the information. Okay? Either way, though, he had inside knowledge with Q. That doesn't matter. The reason I care is because what these guys did, they employed people that were really good with Twitter bots. We have evidence now. These people were really good with bots on Twitter, on YouTube, very good working with this stuff. They employed them to help buff certain videos that were talking about these posts before it was even like the letter Q. Just the YouTubers, of course, said, okay, I want views. That'll make, that social proof that I read to you last night, right? Social proof, which I have another clip already ready to upload about social proof from last night's show. Let me just read you the tiniest little bit about it. Social proof is like this study, is a psychological and social phenomenon where people assume the actions of others in an attempt to reflect correct behavior in a situation. People wanted to be in on this new mystery. They wanted to they were interested in it. They were hearing all the hype about it, which was false, which was generated, but it caught the attention of people in the beginning. So you had a good mixture of bots, a good mixture of real people coming in to click videos, and a good mixture of the hype needed to make sure that people get views. That's why you see some people trying to cover it and not getting a lot of views. If it really was as viral as they say it was, as they acted like it was back then, as viral as their initial videos show it should have been, people would have seen the other videos and at least clicked them and watched them for a few seconds. There are some people that got barely any views back then, but there was no competition in the algorithm. That's not how it works, my friends. Is an email to Isaac Green that kind of sums up what they said to a lot of YouTubers. But remember, Isaac, they just told him, they tried to act like Q was going to help him, that Q is watching. That's what they made Isaac think. They told the other original YouTubers themselves, they said it. They said, we are making these posts. We're going to send traffic to you. We're going to get this thing to go viral. It's going to be massive. Get ready. It's going to build your channel. Now, this whole thing of social proof is basically the kind of ideology they had behind it. There's another thing called Q methodology that you can read about to see some other type of psychological study that they've used to help predict how to use their Twitter bots, how to use their YouTube bots, and how to cultivate the trend that they wanted from behind the veil of anonymity. The problem is they got too sloppy, made their channels, they made the new YouTube channels, and all of a sudden everything kind of poured out the way it did. What's important is that this guy was one of them. Why didn't anyone listen to him? Everyone takes his word to be the word of, someone that really knows what they're talking about. Why didn't they take this to be the
Podestas being indicted yesterday on November 3rd, and Huma Abedin being indicted on the 6th. And then, of course, there was a bunch of other stuff. Basically, the military is helping their orchestration to take down the deep state is the gist of it. Anyway, this poster Q revealed his alleged identity, and is a guy by the name of James Browers, who was...
Now, at first, I was like, you know what? This could just be written off. This whole thing about Brower could be written off. For one, Sather is purposely saying Browers and is purposely written down Browers with an S. But when you go back, you can't find much of anything on this guy because it looks like he's been deleted. But I don't buy it because his Gab account cannot be deleted. Gab is a platform that is, no censorship. That's what Gab is. It's like Twitter with no censorship. It even uses @signs and hashtags. Same thing, they don't censor. His account was wiped completely. It won't even load. You can go to Gab and it won't even load. All it does is load up to a blank page. That's a little strange because looking at everyone on Gab, I can't find anything else that shows that behavior at all. What does this all mean? It means that these YouTubers knew something. And what's really sad about that is if you look at this video done by Joelbot today, The Cure for Cancer, they don't just play this game where, they were willing to, if someone would have came to me and said, hey, I'm crafting a fake trend and I'm going to fool a bunch of people into think that I'm a government leaker on 4chan, you can be part of it. You can get your channel built. After a year, you can just stop talking about it and walk away with a boatload of followers and everyone will be happy. We'll all make a bunch of money and the YouTubers involved will have a platform where they can continually make money into the future. It's like the greatest deal ever. I would have told them to fuck off and I would have came and told you guys. Other people, though, they didn't. That's the sad part. Joelbot's video is very telling. We'll look at it in just a minute. Listen to what I found last night. But on poll, Beans did a video before the board was even made and people posted there. Baruch contacted Beans and then made the board on 4chan. The first board. So basically last night, I saw a DM that I hadn't seen in a while. Now, it doesn't show any super big red flag, but if you take into account that and it's not a DM between two people, this is a big group. This is a group of 10 people talking, so no one can give me shit about revealing a DM. This isn't a direct message. This isn't a private conversation. This is a Twitter group. That's completely different. If you're going to talk in a Twitter group, you got to assume that one of the 5 or 10 people in the group are going to freaking take a clip. But what it does show is that the knowledge was too early. Oh my God, there's this guy on 4chan posting about all this stuff that he's going to reveal the deep state and that Trump is playing 4D chess and all this good stuff's happening. Guess what you realize very quickly? The original videos that were done before the majority of even the original Q posts. Because Q started posting on the 28th. In fact, I have a few what they call maps. I went ahead and grabbed them from 8chan or 4chan way back in the beginning. I could pull one up, but I really don't give a shit to. But let me see if I can find one. And a bunch of 4chan posts all clipped into one thing off poll. And they've got some that have trip codes. They've got others that don't. Here's what one looks like. This one's out of focus. It loads in slowly, but all these different posts from all these different times. There's not even a queue on a lot of them. Let me try to focus it in here and then zoom a little. And it's not this big revelation that they were talking about it in those private groups, right? That's not the big revelation. What the big revelation is that they knew things way too early. You notice, see this? 11-2, we got Alice in Wonderland. We don't have him signing off as Q or QAnon or any of that. There was an instance of using Q Clearance Patriot, I guess, but I think another Anon referred to him as that. Anyway, I'm going to go through all these original posts and really iron this out in a video that I'm working on, an edited video, so that you have, like, you know, a little bit of a, you know, like, you can get a full understanding of everything by me doing it. But here's the deal, y'all. People were inside private groups telling others that this is the biggest intel drop when there wasn't any drops. There was like 3 or 5 or 7 at the most. A lot of the lingo they were using in their early videos hadn't even been posted out on the boards yet. Basically, there was what I found inside the code last night when I looked at the website. The websites, all the QAnon websites are managed by just a couple people. And they pull the code from a GitHub site that Anonymous shared a couple weeks ago. Now, I stumbled upon a GitHub site exactly like that myself by following this guy named Quantum Packets. And last night when I was going to log out after 2 or 3 hours of streaming, I found all this, so I ended up streaming for another 3 or 4 hours. In the end, though, what it shows is these YouTubers have some type of precog ability. And Sather, you know, pretty much says he does. The early videos that they're doing, they don't have source material for. We're talking, Sather and Beans are sitting there talking about all this stuff, you know, acting like they know the identity, acting like they know what's going to come out later, acting like they know lingo that's really hasn't been formed yet. This wasn't even a trend. What I'm telling you is someone had to reach out to them way back then when Q hadn't even followed Baruch to its own board. Q was still on poll. Not even receiving that much hype because a lot of people didn't like it. A lot of now you can go into just do an image search and find a lot of the old boards backed up. And you find out that a lot of people are saying, dude, get your LARP out of here. Get this bullshit out of poll. We're trying to talk about real shit here on poll. Take your conspiracy shit somewhere else. Take just all this dumb shit somewhere else. The majority of posts aren't even treating it in a fair way, but these YouTubers think it's the biggest intel drop in history right off the grip.